Okay, so that one is a picture of our watermelon and mint foam. They hold their shape, so they're compliant for puree and extremely thick. And I've written it you need because I feel like I love take-home messages. If you would like to use foams, this is what you need. Cream whipper gun, you know the ones they use in the cafe, the silver things? You need one of those. Now, unfortunately, I haven't found a powder in Australia that will do this. You need Spuma Instant, which is available, I've written you the website and the number. A recipe and a blender and a sieve. You could, if you had a cream gun, you could make that at home. It's pretty easy. Those recipes are in there, but they're pretty good. That watermelon and mint tastes really good. That's the one we used to convince the physios and OTs that thickened fluids weren't bad. And we won, so you should do it. They're a great tea trolley option. If you're looking for tea trolley options, you've pre-made it in a cream gun. They can make that the day before. They sieve it, they store it in the fridge, and it goes on the tea trolley, and all the tea service person has to do is into a cup. So do keep that in mind. If they can put in 10 minutes the day before, it's a really quick solution. Play around with the recipe. If you use the existing recipe, use a different fruit. As long as you're using the same number of millilitres of fluid to the same amount of Spuma Instant, you'll be fine. And we use watermelon, and if it works on watermelon, go for it. Yeah, that's it. The one on the right is Everlasting Ice Cream. So that's a yogurt-based ice cream through a cream gun, but it holds its shape, and that's the soft serve version. Now, moulds, I know moulds are up and coming. Yeah.
Can you get Everlasting Ice Cream in Australia?
Thank you for asking that, Ben. You actually can. Let me find it for you. I'm going to skip ahead to show you this. Oh, look, here's a slide. I've been talking to these people recently. I had only heard about this 2 months ago. So it's called, what do they call it? No melt ice cream. So it's called Texture Concept Food. Yes. So in terms of the logistics of getting it in facilities, you need to go through EWH or Bunzl will do it as well. I'm fairly sure Bunzl will do it. Bunzl also do, if you've got Bunzl, and this is like logistics of negotiating with your kitchen who will tell you that everything is wrong and they can't do it. It's just simply through Bunzl. That's all they have to do. I tried to get a sample of this. I spoke to I don't know who she was. She rang me from Textured Concept Foods yesterday, and I tried to pressure her into sending me a sample so I could bring it here today. They don't make samples, and because they're in Melbourne, she couldn't deliver me anything. However, she is willing to eventually send me a big tub, and I will report back. But I tried to be like, oh, we all need to know. So if anyone gets a sample, can you let me know? Because I have not succeeded. Yep. Oh, thank you. For that size, 64. And did you go through EWH? And great. And puree and extremely thick? Yes, there is your answer. Thank you. Oh, I'll take that to my boss tomorrow. All right, so that's an easy solution. If you can't do pre-thickened, that cost effectiveness, it's probably cheaper to do this than the pre-thickened, I would think. I think the only thing we'd need to be careful of in a food service sense is watching for that separation. And if you are going to do it, I would suggest doing it for like a couple of days consecutively and watching how it changes throughout the day. Yeah, and I will ask my chef to come up with a good solution as well. I am very pro, if you can eliminate a variable, then do so. So if you can, my dietitian today, we talked about the thickened ice cream, and she said, oh, let's just give it to everyone. Like, there's a little bit to be said for that. You know, if you can eliminate a problem completely, why not do it? I mean, obviously we need to think about choice, but let's be reasonable about changing things to make it easier. Swapping pouring custard to double thick custard, that's an easy solve for thickened fluids. There are quick fixes. Any other questions about ice cream? No. I think we're up to moulds. Okay, I love moulds. Your cooks will groan and they will roll their eyes and they will not like molds. And it's trickier in cook fresh because they need to be set the day before. The whole idea of cook fresh is that everyone gets the same meal and it's done fresh, cooked. Surprise. So it's a bit controversial, but if you can, and it obviously depends whose ear you have, if you can influence them a little bit with balancing molds versus the same meal, see what their outcome is. I know I can get molds now because someone made a complaint about the way puree looked. So sometimes it's just going to happen when you get a complaint, but be ready for the answers when they're ready and they ask you about them. Be like, this is how much they cost. Bunzel will do your molds. I've got puree molds down here, and puree food molds sell them. They just sell to Bunzel. So if you've got a tender with Bunzel, Bunzl, just go through them instead. I saw them last week. They were about $20 per mold, and they come with a lid. So yeah, they are good. Give it a go. Finger foods, my favourite. So over there, they're yogurt cubes. There's some mango cheeks, pear, watermelon, apricot. Yep. And I've eaten all of these recipes and all the food. The only thing I would say about the fruit there is you need to serve it at room temperature. I did bring in, this is what we used for it. It's a Flavor Creations product they just made. Our chef worked with them on it. The only thing I would say is that you do need to be quite precise in the recipe because it does change quite quickly. And if you make something and you think it's not compliant when it's chilled, sit it out at room temperature for half an hour and retrial because it does change the consistency, like around the edges in particular. It does make the difference between puree and minced, so keep that in mind. But worth a go. Shape it instant. I'll pass it around if you want. Though this book uses this in a few recipes, not all. The recipe I gave you, the setting agent is the semolina because the semolina is the stodge. So you use this for wetter products. If you're setting a watermelon, you need it. If you're setting a ricotta, you don't because it's already something that will set quite easily. Now, soaking foods, not my favourite, still worth a go. Some people just want a high tea, let them be included. The method for soaking foods is you soak them in Thicken Up Clear for 2 minutes. Hang on, I've got a recipe for you. $200 ml thickened fluids for a 1 centimetre thick slice of bread. So you cut the crusts off. 200 mils, make it your thickened consistency of whatever you require. It needs to soak for 2 minutes, I think I said. Yeah. No, I lied. Bread is 30 seconds to 1 minute. But it does depend on the bread. If you're using a really soft processed white bread, it's going to be a lot faster than a wholemeal just because of the grain. Yeah, give it a go. If you filled that with curried egg, you can get spreadable tuna. You know spreadable tuna? It's weird. It's in a can. What's it? Jar. Deviled ham. You can make a high tea compliant if you really wanted to, and if you really wanted to sell it to someone, you could make them a compliant high tea with all of these things. And you only need your fluid thickener. Use xanthan gum based, just because of the flavours. So just a resources page for you. You can get pre-made puree molds. It obviously comes away from the cook fresh rationale, but you can buy pre-cooked, pre-molded food from Textured Concept Foods. They're a bit pricey, but if you really want to get molds in, and if you only have one resident on it, might be worth looking into. And they also have the no-melt ice cream. There are the two people for the molds and powders. Now, they're the direct sellers. Obviously, organisations will want to know how they can put it on P2P and all those ordering things. But I can help you with that, EWH Bunzel. And often if you call the owners of the companies or your local rep and give them a bit of a story about how you want to purchase them, etc., they'll help set something up. And often they might do it for you if you don't have the time. Recipe books. Some awesome speech pathologist helped write those. I don't know who she was. And just so you know, the two things down on the mealtime environment, there's a lady called Cherie Hugo. I don't know if you've heard about her. She runs the Lantern Project out of Queensland. She's like us, she's passionate, she loves food and she wants it to be good, and she's doing some good things on dining environments and meal times. We only started the group about 2 months ago, so I'll let you know when something good happens, but she's working on it and it's worth just keeping your ears out for the Lantern Project. And Tibor's Kitchen. He's up in Queensland as well, and I think he works quite closely with Cherie. He's got a Facebook page and he does very fancy, beautiful looking things, so it's worth looking into him as well. And that's just my top tips. If you only remember 4 things, this is what it needs to be. Liquid purees with the ratio of 2.5 to 1. Maximising their independence. Do your finger foods and be creative.